It's happening. The thing that we said was going to happen. We begged MAGA to understand that it was going to happen. Trump said it was going to happen. But so many people didn't believe us, or they did and misunderstood what the outcome will be. Trump has announced his big plan on tariffs that will surely spike inflation. The very thing that people voted him in office to decrease, supposedly, they say, even though I tried to explain to them that that was a bad call. And I'm curious to see how Democrats are going to get blamed for this inflation as well. But before I show you an interview clip between Maria Bartiromo and Donald Trump, as well as Maria Bartiromo reacting to this news, what is the news? Well, Mediaite reports. Trump pledges to slap a 25% tariff on all products from Canada and Mexico, plus 10% on imports from China. President-elect Donald Trump pledged to impose a 25% tariff on all products entering the country from Canada and Mexico on Monday. Those are our two largest trading partners, as well as an additional 10% tariff on Chinese imports. Massive trading partner there as well. And he wrote on Truth Social, as everyone's aware, a bunch of stuff about how a caravan's coming from Mexico and they're not stopping it, and the caravans are always coming when Trump wants them to. It's just a perfect timing there, and Fox News talks about them a bunch until it's no longer politically advantageous, and then all of a sudden there's no more caravans. Oh my goodness. And he ultimately says, I'll sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States. And he frames this as something he's going to do to stop fentanyl or something. I don't think he exactly is making a ton of sense there, but he mentions China, fentanyl, then gets to, until such time as they stop, we will be charging China an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs on all of their many products coming into the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, there's these contradictory polls where people have said that they want Trump because of prices and they feel that Biden's to blame for prices, but they want Trump to implement tariffs that will increase prices. Because, and you're not going to believe this when you hear Trump talk about tariffs, but because tariffs are a tax on U.S. companies importing goods from foreign countries. And Trump keeps saying we're going to charge Canada and charge Mexico and charge China as if we're giving them an invoice and their government is paying us. He either doesn't understand it, which is scary for a sitting president, or he's misleading his followers about it. And we've seen a bunch of clips of Trump supporters having this explained to them. David Pakman explaining, for example, to Sean Kelly of the Digital Social Hour, and Trump supporters in all authenticity going, oh, I didn't know that. I thought we were handing China an invoice and saying pay up. So then if U.S. companies are having, for all the imports from Canada, Mexico, 25%, and then additional 10% on any imports from China, being taxed that amount, who's paying for that? Probably us, the consumers. So great job, America, on getting someone who's going to address high prices by making them higher. Before the Maria Bartiromo interview moment with Donald Trump, please do click that subscribe button if you haven't yet. I want to show you Maria Bartiromo today talking on Fox Business about this news.
Welcome back. The story of the morning, tariffs. President-elect Trump says he will put tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada until they stop the flow of deadly fentanyl and illegal migrants into America. Trump is promising a 25% tariff on all Canadian and Mexican goods coming into the United States. Trump is also vowing to slap China with a 10% tariff above any additional tariffs already in place. Trump says China never followed through on its promise to crack down on fentanyl and give drug dealers the death penalty. Joining me now is Missouri Congressman Eric Burlison. He is a member of the House Oversight, Transportation, Infrastructure, and Education Committees. Congressman, President Trump promised tariffs, and this is how he's starting, even before getting into office. Your reaction?
Yeah, I think he called tariffs a beautiful word, Maria.
Yeah, he did.
But look, you know...
So funny because he didn't understand what that meant. It's so funny. And as a reminder, it's not that tariffs or tariff is a beautiful word or not beautiful word or a good thing or a bad thing. It's how are you using it? What's your policy? What's the specific, as is the case with most words that relate to public policy? And Trump slapping these tariffs across the board on our biggest trading partners. You know what? I'm not even going to argue anything. Wait and see. Okay, we'll just wait and see. And I'll wait for the Trump supporters' apology.
I think it's something that is necessary. It's long overdue that we kind of course correct on some of the trade imbalances that we have with other countries. When you look at the fact that that Japan has a 100% tariff on cars that are manufactured in the United States, that Europe has a 100% tariff on cars manufactured in the United States. This goes back to the Marshall Plan, back to after World War II. The United States allowed these countries to institute these tariffs so that they could help rebuild these nations. And I don't know about you, Maria, but that was a long time ago. And these countries.
So I'll stop that one there and then play you another clip. But it's all going to be up to the American people to judge. If everyone is happy with the pros and cons breakdown of we're going to absorb higher prices on all products from these countries, and we're good with that because we really do believe the long-term benefit of potentially, maybe if the companies decide to change where they're sourcing these products, we make more things here, but then forever, most likely, having more expensive of those things because it's more expensive to manufacture them here. If that's a trade-off that we're down with, then maybe Trump comes out of this super popular. Based on how people reacted to the pandemic era inflation, I don't know if that's going to be the case, though. Then you have this.
Yeah, Cowen and Company's analyst this morning is talking about this. And in the last note, he writes this: we continue to believe that countries with free trade agreements are best positioned and would have lower thresholds for relief, along with countries that have trade goods surplus with the USA, like Brazil. China clarity is unclear. President Trump coming at Mexico, Canada, and China strong this morning. So we'll see how this plays out. Do you think this is going to in any way spark inflation? This is the worry on the detractors around tariffs.
It's going to create some winners and some losers, to be fair. But I do think that overall, it's going to benefit the entire whole of the United States of America.
Some winners and some losers. I wonder who the losers are going to be. Us. And in the us, I'm including MAGA as well. Anyone who's buying stuff. And I'm concerned. I'm really concerned after seeing people's reaction to the recovery that people are not going to blame Trump for it. I feel like Trump's going to figure out a way to blame undocumented immigrants for the price hikes that come of his tariff policy. And I'm gonna talk to people. I'm gonna have my little mic and I'm gonna say, wait, what do you think? And they're gonna go, and they're not gonna learn anything from it. Marie Bartiromo did talk to Trump directly during the campaign, as you might remember, and tried to get him to be more rational on this. I'll play some of these moments.
About the criticism, and the Journal has done this as well, that if you do put something like a 200% tariff on a product, that it's only going to mean higher prices for consumers.
No, it's not. No, it doesn't mean that.
It's got to be passed on somehow.
No, Maria. All I'm doing is saying, I'll put 200 or 500. I don't care. I'll put a number where they can't sell one car into the United. I don't want them to sell their car, because I don't want them hurting our car companies. We're going to have a lot of companies moving into the United States. When I use 200, I'm using it as a number. I don't want their car. They will not be able to sell cars. I'm not going to let them build a factory right across the border and sell millions of cars into the United States and destroy Detroit further.
And then Maria Bartiromo went on to try to get him to admit he wouldn't actually ever implement such a tariff. It's just tough talk.
Your thinking is the threat of a 200% tariff will stop them from taking the car. So you won't actually have to do it, so you're not going to actually push prices higher.
I never,
That's your
until
thinking.
now, I said 200. I'm using that just as a figure.
But you say 200 a lot.
Oh, I'll say 100, 200, I'll say 500. I don't care. They're not going to bring cars into this country from Mexico and destroy what car companies we have left. But much more than that.
Again, and he's using that example to appeal to people who then aren't engaging with his broader promise of tariffs across the board. I would hate to hear any person running for office going, I don't care, I'll just throw out any number. I just use that as a number, was his phrase. And but I guess this appeals to people, explains it in terms that make so clear he doesn't really seem to be engaging thoughtfully with the subject. And then he's making this announcement, and we'll see how thoughtful the outcome of it is. But even in trying to prevent offshoring of jobs because of goods that come from foreign countries, the idea that through this tariff policy you're going to do it like that without extreme short-term pain, which Trump keeps denying there's not going to be short-term pain, again, is a very uneducated position on the part of Trump. And even Joe Kernan on CNBC with Kevin McCarthy seems really concerned about this. And Joe Kernan has been pretty MAGA aligned lately.
You think that with all these different cross currents that were, tariffs were announced, or on day one he's going to try and do some of these things.
Yeah, but did you read what he announced and why? I think this is very important.
Yeah, with immigration and fentanyl. And
immigration and fentanyl.
I got it.
So what are you saying? It's
but with all these, I'm just wondering, and with, and Scott Bessent said he's going to get the tax cuts extended and do the no tax on tips, do all those things. Don't a lot of things have to go right for us not to reignite inflation and scare the bond market? Wouldn't you? I'm surprised the bond market it's very strange the 10-year yield keeps going down because it's supposed to be at 5% by now from fear of Trump.
No, think of this.
Also, he's saying he's punishing those countries for not getting fentanyl coming to the U.S. under control when it's primarily U.S. citizens through legal ports of entry bringing fentanyl in, but he's saying you're getting in other countries, so the other countries should have solved that problem. Blah, blah. It's not like this tariff is going on the fentanyl. And I know he's saying, we're punishing them economically, and so then they'll invest more in getting fentanyl under control, prosecuting people creating fentanyl. But in reality, we're seeing those countries say they're going to just lash out back at us. The Associated Press reporting Mexico suggests it would impose its own tariffs to retaliate against any Trump tariffs. Similar thing from Canada talking about how they will defend themselves. And so we're getting into a situation where in mere months we could be in a full-blown trade war with all three of our top trading partners. And apparently, in just a couple of years, that's going to perfectly bring all manufacturing of products back to the United States without them being more expensive, even though that's why they were offshore in the first place. And it's not going to increase prices in the meantime. And it's all going to be absolutely flawless because Trump says so. And tariff is such a beautiful word. It's not shaping up to be the case. Let me know if you think I'm wrong in the comments.